Hi, friends. Speaking of friends, oh well. Anyhow, welcome to the Rocky Mountain Crafter. Also, speaking of friends, isn't that the cutest? It was a Christmas present. Anyways, today I'm doing a comparison between Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock and Stampin' Up's Whisper White. So I've already stamped out, blended out, and written out because I used Copics and markers. I've already done that on the pieces of paper, and I'm excited to show you the results because this was very, very eye-opening for me. So I'll flip you guys around and show you what I've discovered. Hi friends, and welcome to the Rocky Mountain Crafter. So today I have two pieces of paper here. One is Whisper White by Stampin' Up, which has an ultra smooth finish. And the other is Neenah Classic Crest Solar White, which doesn't have as smooth of a finish. It's a little bit rougher, but it has this beautiful bright white to it. And this one here is a little more dull of a white, more of a off-white. And so we're just going to do an ink comparison. So I'm going to get started with some alcohol ink. So I have these beautiful colors here. These are Tim Holtz alcohol inks. And I'm just going to try on the bottom here of these papers. These are brand new, never been opened. I've never used these before. And I don't even know if I'm supposed to use, I guess you could do whatever you want in a medium. I mean, your creativeness is your own, so you can do what you want, but I don't know if these would work better with a watercolor. Probably not because they're alcohol based. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay down some here on my mat and then pick it up. We'll give them a shake first, just in case some of the pigment is all stuck at the bottom. Give them a good shake. So here I will just put some down right here, maybe one for each. We'll do two spots here. That one's not quite as big. Oh, and I got some over there. That's okay. Oh, and I'm getting it on my hands. Not a big deal. We'll just clean it up with a wipe. Okay, and then go here, maybe a couple spots. Try to make them kind of look similar so that we kind of get like an exact idea of how these are going to look. And then let's just go right there. Oh, that's bleeding nicely. So this one's bleeding nicely into that one. So let's get some bleeding happening. Okay. So, then I'm just going to go, this is the Whisper White by Stampin' Up. And I'm going to go and pick this up just in this bottom corner here. Let's just put this down and pick it up. And I'm going to do the same with the Neenah Classic Crest Solar White in that same bottom corner. We'll just pick that up and see how that looks. Okay, so there. I'm happy with that. And we'll just wipe that off. That's good. All right. And I got the wrong bottom corner, but that's okay. So we'll let that dry for a minute. In the meantime, oh, there, I didn't get the wrong bottom corner. Look at that. In the meantime, let's take some Copic markers and let's just go and do some ink comparison here with our Copics. We'll just do it right beside on both. So there's a line, here's a line, and I'm just doing kind of a gradient color. I always open the wrong end first. And I'm just trying to put a line right beside each one. That one's kind of way off, isn't it? Oops. And here, all right, so that's good enough for those ones. And we'll do the same thing in a pink. We'll just grab some pink hues and do the exact same thing, just so we can get a variation in the different colors and how they perform. Wrong end. I know these have a picture on them. I never look at it. And 90% of the time I open up the wrong one anyway. Okay, look it. It's that end there. Let's do it. There and there. Okay. And then another thing that I want to do is, so that's it for my alcohol. That's all I have. I don't have any other alcohols, but let's take another Tim Holtz here in this green. And this is water-based dye ink. This is the only Tim Holtz that I have. So we'll just brush it along here and see how this is going to work out. And I'll just do nice and smooth down in this corner here, just because it's a little not, it's a little saturated up there. So we'll do the same thing here. Kind of like we're blending it off, but not really until we get down to this corner. Now this corner here, I did get some ink in orange or something on it accidentally, but that's okay. All right. And now what we will do is we'll take a stamp. Here I have this little coffee cup stamp, and I'm just going to go gradient here, and I'm going to do it twice just to make sure that there's no anomalies in it. Oh, and I guess I can do that same color here. Okay. And then we're going to do, like I said, it's going to show up kind of in a gradient. And then here. And these inks that I'm using, these are Catherine Pooler's premium dye ink, but they are water-based. All right, and then let's do another one here in this beautiful skylight color. So you can tell already, I don't know if you guys are being able to pick that up. You can tell already that for the premium dye ink that the Stampin' Up! Is taking it nicely, much nicer. So we'll just do the same thing again, but in a different color again, so that you can just get the variation in color and see how they stamp. And I like to do it twice, just in case the first one doesn't work out as a nice image. Hopefully the second one will. Okay, that's those two. And then lastly, we'll take this beautiful clay mask color and do it here. All right. And then lastly, what else have I got? Let's do some blending here. Just with, these are water-based dye inks. So we're just going to go gradient again. Do some purple, some dark purple, dark purple, dark purple. Well, it's a little lighter than the last one though, isn't it? Dark purple. And then finally the lighter purple. And the lighter purple. Right. And then we can do some blending in here. What colors would you guys like to blend? I think that these teals are pretty nice, so let's blend out some teals, see how that goes for us. All right, so I'm going to get my teal blending brush. I know it's brown on this side, but I do have teal on there. We're going to start, oh, I got some on my finger. Oopsie. I start with the beautiful Uptown. So I'm just going to get some off the brush there. And I'll start here in the middle because I have marks here on both these and I don't want those to interfere. So there's beautiful Uptown color. Again, I'm just trying to do the exact same thing on both. And I want to get it a little darker there, kind of like that one. Okay. And then I'm going to go into my next color, which is Bay Breeze by Catherine Pooler. Just gonna stamp it off or brush it off, and this one looks actually a little bit darker. Maybe it's not. The other one's definitely more teal colored. Yeah, this one is a little darker. The other one has more blue in it. The Uptown has more blue. This one has more green, darker, more black in it, I guess. Okay, and then let's get this off real good. I don't want this to interfere with the next color, which is also a teal. So I'm just using the same brush for all the teals. So I don't want my colors here to interfere. Okay, I'll just pick some of this up, brush it off. Let's get lots on there. There's not much variation in these colors, is there? So the Skylight is just a little more muted than the Bay Breeze. It's not very noticeable though, but it also could be that I still have some extra on my brush. But we're just checking the blending factor anyway, so how well these blend into each other this way. So we will just pick up a little more of that, make sure that we are going over it there. Let's go over it there, and we can actually go over it there as well. See how well the blend is. All right, so I'm just going to draw a line on here for you guys so that you can see that this portion here is, now here's my green spot, so we don't want to do that. So that part's not alcohol. That's not alcohol. So this here is the alcohol. And this here is the alcohol. Okay. And then everything up from that is all water-based dye ink. Water, dye, ink. So these would also be reactive with water. Okay, we'll check that too. Water, dye, ink. These are water-based dye inks. Okay, so let's get a close-up here, see what we got. So for these two here, you can see how the Stampin' Up! Whisper White is much smoother of an image. Let's just put these side by side so you can see there. Okay, let's go this way. There you go. So those two there, for example. These are just much smoother, much cleaner. And then if you go here, the Stampin' Up! Is just much smoother. All of the Stampin' Ups are much smoother images. And if we do a side-by-side comparison of the purple, so there is the Neenah. This is the Neenah. And you definitely have some blotchy spots in there in the purple. Whereas with the Stampin' Up, you don't hardly have any blotchy spots. It just is nice and perfect. Now, it's very hard to pick up on paper here, but you just have to take my word for it that for blending here, the Stampin' Up! Is just smoother. So there you can see that's a little blotchy. And by blotchy, I mean look at how much white spots are in here compared to here where there's way less. Okay, and then same for the green. The green is the same. There's way less white spots on this green paper than there is on this one. And down here we did blending. And I went a little heavier handed here, so it's not a good comparison, but you can just tell that the Stampin' Up! Is just nicer. Now, when we get to the alcohol portion of it, this is the Stampin' Up! And this is the Neenah. So the Stampin' Up! In both cases, you can see little bits of white all through here and little bits of white all through here. But for the Neenah, it's smooth, smooth, smooth. And I don't feel like there's too much of a difference here with this one, but my findings are this. My findings are that these are both fabulous papers, and there's not one that's better than another because the different mediums work differently on them. So alcohol, especially Copic markers, will work better on the Neenah Classic White. I had it this way at the beginning, so let's do it that way. So this is the Neenah Classic White, and this is the Stampin' Up. The alcohol works better on the Neenah Classic White than on the Stampin' Up. The Stampin' Up works better on the water-based dye ink. Water-based dye inks are much nicer, much smoother, much better for blending. However, and I almost feel like if you wanted with this one here, what I'm finding is if you want your inks to blend better together, alcohol inks, you're going to want this one. But if you want them to kind of stay put more and not move around so much, that the Neenah would be better. You can see the difference there where these ones really moved and blended together and these ones really didn't. And so these ones have a crisper image. This one's a little more dull than this one. So these both are great papers, but they both have their definite uses. The Neenah Classic White is what you want for alcohol, so for using your Copic markers, and the Stampin' Up! Whisper White is what you would want for using your water-based dye inks, which most inks are. We have our Tim Holtz Distress is water-based. Most of the companies that are out there right now that are putting out ink pads, Stampin' Up, Catherine Pooler. Let's grab a couple more here and just check. What else have I got? I've got some Simon Says, and I've got some Concord and Ninth. So here's two different ink pads, and we'll just check. Water reactive. So that would tell me that this is water-based dye ink for the Simon Says. And this is Concord and Ninth. And here we have it does not say, does it say on the front? Premium dye ink. So again, these are both going to work with the Stampin' Up! Paper. And I have one more ink. Let's just grab it and see what it said. All right, so here we have Lawn Fawn. And it is also premium dye ink. So that means all of these inks are going to work better on the Stampin' Up! Paper. And I just said I wanted to check the water reactivity with these, so let's just do some. Let's just get a water brush here, make sure that it works. Yeah, that works. Let's just sprinkle some on here. Not sure that it's... This one here is not giving off enough water. Let's just find one that's nice and long, giving off lots of water. Not that one. Okay, here's one. Here's one I think that will work great. Okay. Really get these with some spots on them so you can really see the difference. So right off the hop here, you can see that this one here, it's already started to change the color. Whereas this one here, it's just kind of sitting on there still and nothing's really happening yet. I'm sure it will. So I'm going to pause you guys and let this dry and come back and see what we got. Okay, I'm about 2 minutes in here of letting this dry. I've even waved it around in the air. And it's still not quite dry. You can see that it is reacting though, but it's still not quite dry. There's still water pooled on top. I'm not sure if you can see that, but Anyways, it is reacting nicely, but it's just taking a long time to dry. Whereas this one here, the Stampin' Up, it dried immediately. It reacted immediately. And as for how they look, I think that just because of the blotchiness of the ink itself on the Neenah Solar White, I don't like that look as much as I like this one that just is a lot smoother, and like this would make a beautiful snowy background. Whereas this one here, I'm feeling it's just much more blotchy. It's definitely not as nice. So again, the Neenah Classic White for your alcohol inks, and the Stampin' Up for your water-based dye ink. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the videos that you see here, please subscribe to my channel and hit the reminder button. And I hope to see you here again next time. You can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram under the Rocky Mountain Crafter. Take care. Bye-bye.